Welcome, everyone. It is May the 26th, okay? And I want to welcome you, and I want to thank you for taking the time to watch the video, and I do hope you would share and consider subscribing. And it would be really neat to have some comments, okay? I want to say this is a special one. This is going to be a special video on Venus. I've been doing a lot of studying on something called the morning and evening star of Venus, and it goes for a longer period of time. And considering that we have Venus retrograde right now in Gemini from May 13th to June 25th, I thought it was really applicable because we're in a very transformative time. Okay, and a lot about Venus is how you love yourself. It's not just loving other people, it's just love. So there is the discernment about divine love, personal love, all different kinds of love. Okay, and so it's very applicable, and it's a 9-month gestation period. So it's a very powerful time right now. Like, things are starting to open out. We've been through a major transformation. And this is the transformation I have been talking about since 2007, 2008. And it will go right through till 2023, 2024. Okay. Anybody that's been following me knows that. Okay. And it was years before that I was doing other big transits. So right now we have a lot of retrogrades, which means these planets are just still. So when they're still, when they're stopped, okay, that means you go within. So there's a lot of internal work that we're doing within. And I'm going to tell you what the planets are. I'm not going to make a written post. I'm just going to concentrate from now on the YouTubes. So it's up to you to do writing, unless somebody comments and says, we like the written ones because we can print them off. So give me a comment. So anyway, it started out in April 25th, where Pluto went retrograde in Capricorn, and that's till October 4th. Then Venus went retrograde on May 13th to June 25th, okay, in Gemini. Then Saturn went retrograde, and it goes retrograde from May 11th to September 28th, but it shifts between Aquarius and Capricorn. And then on December 20th, it actually moves into Aquarius for like a long period. Then we have Mercury, which is going to go retrograde in Cancer on June the 18th till July 12th. Then we have Mars, which is going to go retrograde from June 29th to September 19th. Okay, and that's going to be, it'll shift there too, into two different signs. And then we have Neptune that is going retrograde on June 23rd till November 12th. Okay, and that's another shift. It'll be in Pisces and Aries. Then the eclipses are going to be on June the 5th and June 21st. And then we have our solstice. Now, your eclipses are wild cards. So anything can happen, okay? And it doesn't have to be bad. It can be a great opportunity. A lot of times when we think something is really bad, in the end, it turns out that it was good because it's our path and it's all about the divine guiding us, okay? So now let's start with the Venus here. So now this is a new look at this Venus retrograde. Okay, it is the beginning on a new Venus cycle, but this is from a shamanic point of view. Venus retrograde is about metamorphosis from one state to another, just like the butterfly, from the caterpillar to the butterfly. It's a very potent evolutionary soul journey, and we are very aware of that with what we are experiencing right now. Venus retrograde is like a descent in the shamanic one into the underworld, okay? And Pluto is the underworld, and it's also retrograde. So we have a double whammy here. A part of us must die so that a new version of ourselves will emerge. We will emerge as a morning star a bit confused as we have evolved from our essence, raised our frequency, and experienced a profound death. Now, Venus rules Taurus and Libra, and Venus is now retrograde in Gemini, as I said, May 13th to June 25th. Interesting point. The first half of Venus retrograde, the first 20 days until June the 2nd, those days of the retrograde are about letting go of the old and not a time for new beginnings. This is when old lovers or unfinished things from the past come into your life so that you can finally deal with them. Venus retrograde happens exactly at the end of a Venus cycle when Venus shifts from an evening star, which is Queen of the Heavens, okay, on May 26th, she disappears and reemerges as a morning star on June the 12th, reemergence from the underworld. She has completed a 9-month journey in the evening star cycle and now emerges for 9 months in the morning star cycle. She's called to remember the sacred, divine, feminine. The mystical, magical, and alchemical process that we're going to be introducing is quite significant, as Venus only will ever retrograde in the signs identified, and they each have a specific meaning. So I'm going to give you the dates so that you can remember any other themes, okay? And what you want to do is, have you noticed Venus retrograde themes in your life? This is the greatest portal for self-discovery, potency, strength, alchemy, and magic. Through the course of your lifetime, Venus, this is very interesting. Okay, I said I've studied this for about 2 years. Venus only retrogrades in 5 zodiac signs. Okay, right now it's Gemini, so it's May. It is Gemini, but I'm going to tell you the dates it's been because there's intervals. So it was in May and June of 2004 and May and June of 2012. And then May and June of 2020, that's when Venus is in Gemini, and it's about being playful, a lot of fun and creativity, which is very different as to what we are experiencing. So then it goes in Capricorn, early Aquarius. That was December 2005 and January 2006 and December 2013 and January 2014. So when it was in Capricorn, it was about taking greater responsibility for how you showed up, handling and doing things in a way better for more results and efficiency. So then it was in Leo and Virgo, July to September 2007 and July to September 2015. And that was about how to love yourself better. It was in Aries, March and April 2009, March and April of 2017. And that was to find work and your purpose and mission. And then late Libra, Scorpio was October and November 2010 and October and November 2018, which was all about relationships, okay? So now this is a remarkably interesting pattern. Even though Venus retrogrades about every 18 months, each Venus retrograde returns to the same zodiac sign every 8 years. So just like the sun, but there's only 5 that retrogrades in. That's the pattern. So just like the sun has a cycle 365 days or a year, just like the moon has a cycle 28 days, 29 days, or the lunar month, so does Venus. So the Venus, there's 2 areas. One is self-love and one is selfless love. We need both types of Venus in our life. The self-love, which is the Venus morning star, okay, and you can actually be that in your natal chart. And then we're going through that right now. The self-love is the Venus morning star, and the selfless love is the Venus evening star. And I've been studying different people's charts as to which one they have natally. Your Venus natal phase tells you which type of love you were born to master in this lifetime. So are you a Venus Morningstar? You then need to master self-love. You need to learn how to love yourself. Attention and narcissism is not self-love. It's in fact a lack of self-love, masked as self-love. True self does not need validation from the outside. Then are you an evening star, a Venus evening star? You then need to master selfless love, okay? The love for other. This doesn't mean you have to become a doormat and do whatever it takes to please the other. It simply means to love the other for who they are, no matter what your natal Venus phrase is. Venus retrograde is a reminder that to fully embrace Venus, we need to explore both. You cannot love the other if you do not love yourself. And what is self-love alone if it cannot be shared with another? Interesting times, okay? So part of what makes this Venus cycle and this Venus retrograde so potent, magical, and chemical is that she periodically moves from the evening star to a morning star, and the shift is for 9 months. Did you know that the Venus cycle correlates to the human gestation? Mysterious and mystical. The Venus retrograde cycle also lasts about 40 days. This particular one is 43. Does that time period sound familiar to anyone? Biblical references have to be inspired by something. When Venus transforms from an evening star to a morning star, she actually disappears from the sky. So Venus goes retrograde. So the current Venus retrograde cycle, again, I said, from May 13th till June 24th, which is when Venus retrograde again in Gemini. And what is Gemini? There's a whole other video on that, okay? Because Venus in Gemini, okay, Gemini's the trickster, okay, and it can be a little bit superficial. So I would say you watch the other video with this. So if you have planets between 21 degrees and 5 degrees, okay, in Gemini, you'll be especially influenced. If you are familiar with your birth chart, find the house area that contains 5 to 21 degrees of Gemini. This is the area of your life that will undergo the retrograde cycles of delays, review, revision, and second chances. Venus retrograde is also a cycle of renewal and rebirth, of embarking on a new adventure. Venus retrograde can arouse old love and relationship themes. We're forced to rethink our relationship and how life works in a more practical way. This is a time when your reality can change drastically, whether it's leaving an unhealthy relationship behind, finally confronting unresolved trauma, or even giving yourself a much-needed haircut. Okay, if you're somebody who already has been doing a lot of emotional self-discovery work, and hopefully you have a copy of Game Changer. Usually I have it here, I don't today. Specific tools, astrology or numerology, or the gene keys, which I've been studying and I'm still studying with Matthew. Specific therapy, journaling, or having honest and often very difficult conversations with people that you love, being really authentic. This astrological event might actually rise your frequency, okay, depending on what's happening with you. Now, you might have some moments of discomfort, but ultimately Venus retrograde should help raise your consciousness, so maturing and elevating your frequency. So truth time. However, if you bottle things up or keep your thoughts on others and troublesome behavior to yourself, this planetary shift will give you a much needed kick in the pants. Just concentrate and focus your attention on this cosmic shift. However, we have other planetary cycles that will be affecting this retrograde, which I'm going to talk about individually, which I did bring up in the beginning. The different retrogrades, and then we have the 2 eclipses, which is the full and new moon, and we have a Mercury that's going retrograde. And again, eclipses are wild cards, So we have the prenuptial full moon lunar eclipse on June 5th and 6th at 15 degrees Sag. And then we have an annular new moon solar eclipse at 0 degrees Cancer. And 0 degrees is a critical degree. Okay, plus a lot of the retrogrades and a couple of more. So the big lesson is to go within, align with divine source, and do your self-discovery. And it's most interesting right now, I find, okay, is we are here in this age of Aquarius, which I've also talked about, and I'm going to have another video on it. And it's all about balancing left and right brain, masculine and feminine energies, and head, heart, and the hair, so that we become whole and self-sufficient individuals. And that's what Game Changer was about. If this was a male energy, this was a female energy, they're to be whole beings, knowing about life, how to take care of themselves, the basic common sense fundamentals. As the Buddhist would say, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. So we have a whole person here, a whole person here. This is the relationships. Two whole beings coming together so that they can share and be supportive of our soul evolution. Not the former Piscean codependency, where we had manipulative energy vampires or parasites, okay, that lived off of a host, okay? That's part of this huge thing. And that's, if you look at the collective, basically since 2007, 2008, it's all about corruption, revealing all the evil and the power struggles, and how the top has used the bottom people from a tax point of view, a sexual point of view, or whatever point of view, a money point of view, to sustain theirs. And it's a huge shift, and it's really interesting from what we talk intellectual to trade people, okay? No one is any better, okay? Everybody is an energy being. I do not see the masculine, feminine. I do not see the color. I do not even see the age, because of soul development, we can have somebody that's 20 years old that is way wiser than somebody that's 60. What's that wisdom all about? And we have karma that we're working on right now. We're cleaning up our karma. You got 9 months, okay? It's about relationships, relationship with you and with others, okay? And the wisdom usually comes from life experience, not from the intellect, having a PhD, but actually taking intellect, common sense, which is not that common, okay? And so common sense and practical skills, okay? So now I have a question I'm going to leave you with, and then I'm going to close off. So, would you want somebody that was a hairstylist coming into your home to do a plumbing job? Would you want somebody that has a PhD, okay, that does not know what type of screwdriver to use for anything, to come in and do any work within your house where they needed tools, or in a car? We each have our gift. We each have our purpose. And for anyone to think they're any better than anyone else, I don't think so. And I think that this pandemic really showed that. Who are the people that were really necessary? Okay, it was the practical people. We still had to have the garbage picked up. We still had to go to the stores and buy groceries. Okay, the truck drivers had to work, even though everybody is so upset about us having gas, but I do not see any electric trucks right now. Okay, and so the practical qualities to live this life are really important. Yes, we're moving from 3D to 5th to 7th, and that's what this transition is all about. So I leave you with that. I would really appreciate some comments. Many blessings, much love, and enjoy your new Venus rebirth and loving yourself and getting clarity on who you are, what you value, and maybe what your purpose is. Take care.